Hey everybody, welcome to the Two Dads Review podcast. If you are here for the American Horror Story portion of the podcast, just hang on and it'll pick up right after this little intro. If you're here for the Star Trek Discovery portion of our podcast, jump to the 43-minute mark. We'll see you guys there. Hey guys, it is time. Oh, okay, I'll wait. What did you just whisper?
I was getting ready to go, you can do it.
You can do it. I know, right?
That might as well be the intro right there.
It may as well be. You know what? Hey, it's Two Dads Review. This is how we start all of our stuff. You guys just don't get to hear it. So we'll just leave it in. It's cool. So, yeah, we're back. We're back for our deep dive recap and review of American Horror Story Cult Episode 8 and Star Trek Discovery Episode 6. Both shows this week, we both enjoyed, which is, I think, a first since we were doing Game of Thrones many, many weeks back, Corey.
Yeah, definitely. This is, I think you liked last week's. I was still like, yeah, whatever. This week's I actually enjoyed, so I think this is the first time both episodes across the board have been reviewed in a positive light.
Right, write that down. This week, Corey liked American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Everybody who's been so close to people who have left now never get to hear that you actually liked one.
Well, man, hopefully I didn't turn too many people away from not liking the show.
The folks that aren't listening anymore and have been turned away by us hating on the show aren't true fans of the show then anyways.
Well, that's true.
Because it was not a good first part. It was just not. The first half was not good. It's taken them. Them 5 or 6 of their 10 episodes to get rolling, and now it's good. And now it's like, well, what are you gonna do? I mean, what are you gonna do with 2 episodes left? You're gonna wow me, and I'm gonna come back next season and get it to be all over again.
Yeah, because what are they they're not even 45-minute episodes, are they?
I mean, it's TV with commercials, so 42 to 47, depending on.
I was gonna say they got a lot to like wrap up in 90 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, you know.
Well, but it is FX, so every once in a while a show will just go over because they don't care, and they're like, "You're gonna run the whole show, so just let it go to 10 or to 11:06 or whatever."
Yeah, that's true.
Minutes to wrap this thing up, guys. So let's see what you do with it. You wowed us. You threw something at us at the end, and that's how you do a cliffhanger. Not like it was whatever week it was. We were shitting on the cliffhanger the week before. That's how you do a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that was a solid cliffhanger right there. Nice and quick and fade to black, and you're like, all right. You left.
Now I'm intrigued.
You gave me enough, and then you quickly cut me off, and now you actually left me wanting more.
Exactly. That's a very good cliffhanger. Before we roll into American Horror Story Cult, we'll go over our where you can find us at. So, hey, Corey, what's our Twitter handle?
Two Dads Review. That's
correct. And where's our website?
twodadsreview.com.
Right, exactly. You kind of detect a pattern going there. Over at the website, which directs to our Audio Boom site, you can listen to our podcast there. You can also find links to Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and TuneIn. All great places to listen to us. You can also catch us at our YouTube channel. Podcast goes up there shortly after the audio version goes live. It takes a lot longer for my computer to burn that video / audio out than just the audio. So it goes up pretty quick after. And you can always find us on Twitter, like we said, or Facebook, or anywhere else that matters. It's social media. So, come check us out. Come say hi. We want to say hi to you.
Yeah, Twitter's probably where we're both the most active at.
Most active for...
Hell yeah.
It really is.
Which is asking a lot, really, for mid-30-year-old people, man. Like, hey, I'm here. I do enough.
Yeah, my 3 kids, your 2 kids, and we're like, my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm tweeting. Leave me alone. I got stuff I got to say. Yeah, somebody followed me. I got to say thanks."
My wife calls it the twiddles. She's like, "Are you twiddling over there?" And I'm like, "Yep, sure am."
My wife just asked me if a past tweet is a twat. So
nice.
She's funny like that. Okay, so yeah. So we will crank right into the American Horror Story Cult Episode 8 discussion, Corey. The title of this episode is Winter of Our Discontent. I'm not really sure what that is pointing to other than... I don't know.
It's kind of self-explanatory, man. Like,
well, go ahead, explain it to me.
Winter's fed up with the shit.
Oh, we're go. Oh man, I didn't even put that together. God, I mean,
I was like, really?
Really, you're not going to put the girl's name right to it? No, apparently not. So,
I thought you were fucking with me, to be honest.
Maybe I can cut this together and make it sound like I was doing that, but I'm not.
Just go ahead and rearrange it. I'll throw in like some keywords, man. Like, good job. Wow. Were you fucking with me? You got it.
Just sound bites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, after that intro, we're not cutting anything. This is going to be a straight run. We're good. Okay, so to start the episode off, we are... Where do we start the episode off at?
Good question. I'm totally spacing out.
Oh, was it right at the restaurant? Yeah. So we start like in the restaurant, right? No. I know what it is. The brothers are at their house, and the doctor is congratulating Kai on his win for the council chair, and he's trying to give him a drink, and he's like, "No, I got to stay sharp," which is I freaking hate that. So this kills one of our theories from at least a couple episodes ago. That the doctor was actually the marionette behind everything, including Kai. So we know the doctor is literally just taking things as he sees them.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's definitely not in charge. He's definitely just taking Kai for what it is.
Man, we don't know if that stab later killed him or if it was just all for show and he like actually sacrificed a pinky for the greater good.
But you don't think he's dead after getting jabbed in the neck? Now you're just...
Oh yeah, jabbed him in the neck. I thought it was in the shoulder. You're right. Never mind. I'll shut up.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I mean, it could have been fake, but I don't think so.
No, definitely not.
So we're going to go with the fact the doctor was not. He was reacting as opposed to, running the show from the back, from the behind the scenes. So then they get, like a strange bro hug, like out of it, and Kai's like, "Just call me councilman." It's like, okay, dude.
Yeah, well, he was like, "I'm gonna need you to do me a favor," and it was like, huh? What?
Is that what he said? From now on, call me councilman. Is that what he said?
Yeah. He was like as he's hugging him, he's like, "I'm gonna need you to do me a favor," and he was like, I'm gonna need you to call me councilman.
That's yeah, that's
terrifying.
Just terrifying. This show had some great terrifying stuff in it, along with the fact that I'll never listen to the song "I Swear" by All For One the same ever again.
Dude, I didn't realize until you sent me the video today that how diverse All For One was culturally.
Oh, you know what? And I'll tell you, when I looked it up last night, I actually had to I had to like actually dig deeper because I'm like, wait a second, are all those guys all for like? You're right. There's like a lot of. It's not just a bunch of white boys.
Yeah, dude. It wasn't like it wasn't like Boys to Men, or it wasn't like NSYNC, or like. This just looked like four regular dudes they got getting groceries, and they were like, "Hey, man, we got a good mix of everything, and they're all in key, so let's make this happen." Yeah, that
was an interesting find for me. And,
I don't think it should have ever been not ruined for you.
It
I don't think
wasn't.
that scene should
No,
have
but that
paused
song was
it.
what was it? 1994. So that's when I was in like my freshman year of high school. So I mean, it's probably one I danced to every school dance for 4 years straight. So it is that kind of song. It does like I could probably sing the stupid whole thing. I'm not going to do it here, but yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody can sing that song, man. Like even if you were just born 2 days ago, you already know that song.
That's staying
it's just
power
somehow
right
it's
there.
in your DNA now.
So yeah, moving on from I Swear, we'll get to that lovely use of the song later on. So they move us from the awkward bro hug to the butcher on Main, and all of the women are in the kitchen or serving all of the blue shirt militant Kai lovers, and they're being total dicks to the girls, to Ivy for sure, because she was, we saw her delivering the stuff, and it did strike me odd as how quick Ivy is to anger to violence, because it wasn't like she got pissed and then started mouthing off. She just went for a knife right away to stab the
dude. I think after she backhanded her wife, man, she's just like, let it all go. You know, she's like, I don't care anymore. You know what? I'm done with this. I'm in a cult.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm in a cult, right? Like, so who cares?
And you still have your son, but you're going to immediately go right to stabbing a guy in public in the daytime.
Yeah.
So, I guess once you cut a guy up in your freezer, you're really not going back from there. You're not really coming back down off of that mountain.
No, you're fully invested at that point.
Right. So they all are in the back kitchen. Beverly's just she's just letting everybody have it, just screaming about it back there and talking all kinds of shit. And Winter steps in and is like, she's not ready to turn on Kai yet. And she talks everybody down some and just, she's not ready to turn on her brother yet. So that's pretty much how that portion of that scene ends, really.
Yeah, and even then they're already telling Winter that, like,
right,
can't trust your brother anymore. And Winter, I think Winter calmed the situation down right there, but I don't think she stopped the momentum.
No, definitely not. She was she was like, let me talk to him first. Let me try to calm him down. But yeah, they're like, she had a ticking time bomb. She's like, you don't have much time before we turn. I don't know why they haven't already. They needed to do that because they've missed their chance now. Truth be told, at least anytime soon with that militant group with him and everything. So they need to cut him away from his herd and take him out on his own. But
yeah, but he's always got bodyguards on him now.
Yeah, well, at least one of his main right-hand men don't make it through the episode. Actually, a couple of them don't, so that's okay.
Yeah.
They already lost Harrison last week. So yeah, and then this week has a bunch more. So anyways, the next scene we see is Kai at the council meeting, which is full of his militant guys just like taking up the first 8 rows of people and just sitting there with all their firearms and everything. And he's apparently he's made a motion to vote for installing them as extra security around the town, or at least around the district they're in. And everyone on the board is already convinced and has their hand up. And there's one guy who's holding out until Kai just starts to just ramble off all the stuff he knows about him and about his family and where he lives and where they go to school. And that convinces the guy pretty quick.
Yeah, he like mid-sentence is like, all right, yeah, I got my hand up. We're done. You rattled off my children. I'm out.
I'm voting. Please don't kill me.
Yeah.
Or my family or anybody. After the quick little scene, I don't know. I thought they could have done, I don't know. I understand what Kai was doing, and I guess if I maybe had seen it, if they could have showed us a couple more of, maybe not every single person on the board, but they were already convinced, and that most of them weren't convinced just by him talking about it. So he did things to those people, and I kind of would have, to make it stick more, I would like to have seen maybe 1 or 2 others, real quick succession of how he convinced them to go ahead and vote for it,
I think they just illustrated like how quickly everyone's bought into his shit,
That seems to be that seems to be what we say every week. How quickly things go right for him and his cult and what he wants done.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to spin it. Like, watch, this is going to be like what puts him like, I don't know, we're going to end up finding out this is all like a big dream or something and he's really like in a psych ward.
Oh, please let's not that be the case. I hate movies and shows that end that way. It's all not real.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's not even pretend that's even going to happen. So we get a flashback scene of Kai and Winter messing with, like, trolling anti-abortion bigots, like, on a website, and just feeding them the darkest ideas of what they all say on those boards, and just watching the reaction of everybody who reads it. And of course, this goes in line with, like, they're just. I've watched more shows this web. I'm like, I'm not really sure that's how it works, guys.
Yeah, it's like they treat it like it's a separate entity.
Well, it's like darkweb.com. Is that what the dark web is? Is it a website?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like that's how they treat it. They're like, oh, hey, when you like, it's like AOL days. Like, do you want to sign on? Do you want to sign on to the dark web?
Right.
Like,
It's like fear.com. Wasn't that like the movie for fear.com? Remember that movie?
Yeah, something like that.
Was that Kevin Bacon? Was he in fear.com?
I don't think so.
No, it probably wasn't.
No.
We all know you're past Kevin Bacon. It's fine. You like him now. Anyways, so back on their trolling of the dark web, they get a pop-up invite from Pastor Charles, and he invites them to come out to the Judgment House. So, I was watching the Twitter feed, especially the actress that plays Meadow, or who played Meadow, who's not around anymore. She actually was given the set design folks kudos for the Judgment House because of how creepily awesome it was. And, it made sense since most of the scenes and most of the things that have happened this season have been relatively low key when it comes to the gore, like in an over the top fashion, like the Judgment House was. And I was really impressed with the look and feel, and was actually like creeped out as they were going through it. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that house was definitely like all I kept thinking was Saw in my head, because I was like, because of the booby trapped people, and then I was like, man, this is gonna have some like kind of weird twist. I was like, this is gonna be like a House of 1,000 Corpses, some weird necrophilia is gonna end up going on or something, man. Like it definitely gave you the heebie-jeebies,
right? And it definitely had a House of 1,000 Corpses feel to it. It had a lot of the stuff you listed. It also had a feel of if anyone's watching Channel Zero No End House on Sci-Fi, which is the season 2 of it. It's a creepypasta based like story, and it's each room of this house, it's like a house that shows up as like an art thing. Like there's like a placard that says, No End House, and the 5 rooms are they're progressively your 5 greatest fears, and it's and like people go in and the rooms change for the people that are in it, and as you get further down into the room numbers, all the way to 5, you're just getting into creepier and creepier stuff. So it reminded me of that. Not nearly as bad as No End House, but definitely cool. Check out Channel Zero if you guys don't watch it on Sci-Fi. It's a great show.
I was like, that's a nice little plug for Sci-Fi and Channel Zero right there.
Sorry, plugging for that one. Yeah. So what was the first room? Was it the abortion room?
Yeah, that's the first one I remember.
I think so, because it was abortion, then it was the guy on drugs, and it was the guy who was gay. That was the 3 rooms that we came into. And so the abortion one, like, it was already creepy with like the bloody crib that's like illuminated from below and the curtain and everything. And then they pull it back and there's like a lady in stirrups, and you're like, oh, it's sweet Jesus.
Yeah, in stirrups, bloody as hell.
And like had the shock collar on her. And then like to see, like, even though it's past Kai, so he's not nearly as crazy as he is in present day. Like he's like, hey, he's about to lick it. He's like, oh, wait a second. Like, this is real blood. He's like,
yeah.
And then,
I was just like, what a fucking weirdo, man.
Right. And so, it was, it was a great room. I mean, it was a great idea. She had like a shock collar on that he, after the pastor got done with his monologue, like shocked the crap out of her. Then they came to the guy who's like got every intravenous drug pumped into his system. That's the other thing. It kind of gave me a 7 feel too, like the room.
Oh yeah, all you need to do is replace all those bags with a bunch of air fresheners.
Yeah, right? And the guy had to be a lot more emaciated. But yeah. So that was that room, and then the next room was the guy who was supposedly gay, and had the
well, yeah, at least that guy thought he was.
Yeah, well, he had everything. Well, he turned out to be wrong with all 3 of them.
Yeah,
that was the best part. It's like you're not even good at what you do because you don't even get the backstory. These people aren't even what you think they are.
Yep. You're just crazy, dude.
Yeah, they get the guy in the crossed knives. The knives all came out in the shape of a cross when they went through people. That was kind of crazy, awesome. But they get everybody out. And they explain to him after he's tied to the cross chair, like, this person was like volunteering at this. This guy was, none of them are what you said they were. You're not even good at this.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
bad. It was real bad. I started laughing. I was like, damn, dude, that guy didn't get a fucking person right.
Right. Pick up a phone. Get on the internet. Good God. Check something out. Fact check something, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to kill people, like, at least be on point about it.
See, exactly. Two dads say if you're going to kill somebody, at least be on point about it. So they end up, Kai kills him with his own chair. And that's when Winter's like, he was never the same again after that day. Like, that's when it, like, all, like, switched for him. And he dyed his hair blue. Cool effect, by the way, when he went down with his hair one color and came back up and it was blue. I was like, oh, that's cute. So, and then he starts using his Adderall and just hasn't been the same since. So yeah, that was Kai's turning point, I guess, was the Judgment House. And then I'm not going there for summer break, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'll go to anything with the words Judgment House in it, like, ever. Like, I don't think I would go to anything like that beforehand. Like, it just sounds like it's bad news.
I don't need.
Hey, man, you want to go? Hey, you want to go to the Judgment House? No, no, I fucking don't. Like, what about that house sounds appealing? Nothing.
Right. I just love how nonchalant they approached it. Like, it's like, oh, this guy's gonna be a crazy kook, and it's like, and he's killing people.
Yeah, well, I think that's like I hate using this phrase now that I keep saying it, but it's like they're illustrating just how willy-nilly people take shit on the internet.
Right.
Like, all right, I'll just go check this thing out. Like, where I'm like, how did this thing accidentally get sent to me? I have so many different things blocking me in every way. Like, I might as well have tinfoil wrapped around my room.
You're just in a Faraday cage.
Yeah, pretty much. Dude, if I could get one, I'd be so awesome. Like, I would love to turn this whole room into a cage like that.
There you
That'd be bonkers.
Like,
I'd be so happy.
A basket for everybody's phone outside the door. I mean, it's great. Yeah. So what, you hate using the term willy-nilly? Are you tired of? Do you feel old using willy-nilly?
No. Actually, I love using the term willy-nilly. It's I kept saying, I think they like to illustrate. You know. Well, at least a new phrase.
At least it's more positive stuff. Is like, I just think they like to illustrate the bullshit writing of this group. Yeah. Well, they've come out of it now, so that's good. And I think we jump right from that. No, let's see. Oh no. We are there now. We are at the Pinky Power Promise thing with Kai and Winter, where he announces to her that he wants her loyalty and that she is going to birth the Messiah of their movement. And she's like, but that's incest. And all I was thinking was like, okay, writers, like, just because Game of Thrones made incest cool doesn't mean you got to do it. And the writers of American Horror Story said, no, we're going to take it a step further.
I don't even think the writers of Game of Thrones made incest cool. I think they've made everything else so fucked up around that show that you're just like, I mean, really? That's not even the worst thing that's happened.
Right. I mean, she's his aunt. It's not even like it's like sisters or anything.
It's like that doesn't even make it into the top 100, and that's fucked up.
Right. Exactly. So we find out that Kai doesn't want to have sex with her. He wants her to have sex with Detective Samuels while he has sex with Detective Samuels as well. And how is this the part of the entire show, if not the entire series, that has made me the most creeped out? I'm like, I've seen some shit with American Horror Story, and this, I was like, especially because they jumped right into it, and they're standing in a circle in their whole white gown, they're all their garb and stuff, and he's like, and then they get ready to go, and I'm just like, I don't turn my head away from TV a lot, but I was like, I can't, like, are we gonna get to watch this?
You're like, I feel awkward. I feel awkward right now. I shouldn't be here.
Am I aroused or not? I'm very confused. So lo and behold, we don't get to witness the entire scene, cause Detective Samuels can't get it up. And just to get more graphic, because why not? I'll mark this as not safe for work anyways. He can't get it up for Winter, but Kai won't enter him until Samuels is already in Winter, so it was never going to work in the first place. So it never happens.
Yeah, he didn't really pick the correct
sequence of events.
Stud right there. Yeah, he just didn't think that one all the way through. But I like how Winter even called him out on it. She's like, "Oh, on the idea you just made up this morning."
Right when he's like, "This is the ritual." She's like, "Yeah, from this morning."
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, she does. And she says, I mean, this isn't funny. She's like, I feel like I'm being raped. It's like, yes, or like, of course you feel that way. Like, it's horrible. So this hopefully will be what pushes her over to Scum's side, because we know we have Scum operating in the background, and even though Kai knows it's operating as well. He's dancing. I swear, man, turning Beverly on him was the worst thing he could have ever done, because she can control those girls. And turning on her, she's going to be the one that kills him at the end of the show. Mark my words.
Mark him? You're going to call it right now?
Write it down. Beverly is the one that kills him. Allie won't have to.
8:57 p.m. I bet you it'd be Winter. Winter's going to have to be the one that does it.
Well, that would be... What if it's like Winter and Allie and Beverly and Winter? So Winter deals the final blow, huh? The one last stab to the heart or whatever puts him out of his misery.
Yeah, I think she's just gonna realize her brother's gone crazy, and she's just gonna have to end it.
Maybe she sacrifices herself. I don't know. It's gonna be, like I said, we have 90 minutes left of show for them to tell us, because you got to wrap that shit up. You can't leave that kind of stuff hanging.
American Horror Story doesn't care, man. They'll leave whatever they want hanging.
I know. I still haven't even looked at it.
I still got questions from Asylum I want answered.
You're never getting those answered.
No, I'm not.
There was aliens.
And I've kind of accepted that.
Those aliens are who birthed Kai later on. That's how Kai has his powers now, because of the aliens.
Yeah, seriously, it's got to be something like that. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Right. Okay, so we move on to another flashback, and this is Kai way before again, where he's like writing, and Detective Samuels catches him, knocks him on his ass, and then proceeds to tell him he's not going to arrest him. He just wants 50% of the take, or what was it, 70% or something? I don't know. It was a large. He has a large percent of the take.
Yeah, 70-30.
And so Kai coming to his house to deliver a payment. I guess the first payment, and Samuels is unsuccessfully trying to have sex with a woman, and then freaks her out because he has to choke her to get hard. So she runs out, and she not only does she run out and not get freaked out by the other guy in the house that wasn't there before, she stops on the way out with her clothes in her hands to give a full screaming monologue as to what the exact situation is with Detective Samuels.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was all that Nazi memorabilia, so I imagine she's a pretty hardened woman, because she didn't bat an eyelash at any of that shit. Right,
samurai swords and Nazi stuff. You're fine. I'll be fine. I'm sure this is fine. I'm sure she met him on the internet. And she's like, I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, he was like, would you like to come to Choke House?
Right, yeah. But not Judgment House. We're going to go to Choke House.
Yeah, Choke House. And then
it'll be fine.
She was like, oh, yeah, sure, why not?
So after that flashback, we get the Messiah into her or whatever, and she's got a dunce cap on and is returning recyclables to the side of the road. So she's returning the trash because Kai doesn't believe in global warming.
Yeah, pretty much. Kai's like, no, dirty.
He's like, I don't believe in global warming. Just start throwing trash everywhere. And Samuel swings by to bring her like her food for the day or whatever. And she's giving him shit about everything that happened the night before. And he's like, I'm going to do it right now. I know how to do this. Like, I know how to get myself hard. So he goes to mount her and choke her, and she draws his weapon and like knocks him in the head. So he falls back in his chair, and then she proceeds to wield a pistol in the worst way possible. Like, I even tweeted, I was like, that's not how you hold a handgun, honey. Oh God, never mind. You're good. That's fine. Because she literally just splattered his brains across the car. Like, you hold it however you want to. That's fine. You go right ahead.
Yeah, kill shot's a kill shot at that point.
Yeah, she blew his friggin' brains out. So, Kai loses another one of his hardcore followers. Yeah. So, but this will come up later on. Like that reality will come up later on in the episode. When we find out that's not the story she told Kai, which is great. So we after that scene, after Detective Samuels gets his brains blown out, we find that Allie is out of jail, and she is talking to Dr. Vincent, and we find he magically has a photo of the siblings like just handy, and shows it to her, and she's like, "You're his brother," and like, that's my nanny. That's who's fucking my wife. Like, what is going on here? And he's just backpedaling, like, hey, like that's how he knew about all my fears and things like that. And so she's just losing her mind, and she is ready. She's ready to go. Like she is set. She is not scared of Allie anymore.
No, man. I like her on a warpath. She's a much better character on a warpath. She
is. She's turned off the waterworks for the rest of the season, man. We are done with the cry face. We are now on full blown.
Yeah, I think the only time she'll cry is if it comes. It'll be due with her child.
Yeah. When she gets Oz back, when Ivy's dead in the pool of her own blood,
and that's acceptable. I'm like, that's cool, man. I'm all right with that. That's when you should cry.
That's when I'll be crying too. I'll be so happy for her.
Yeah. That's when I'll be tearing up.
So, Dr. Vincent is just trying to apologize and, promises to make things right by saying he's going to try to have Kai committed because he knows he's crazy now. And Allie don't give a shit about what Dr. Vincent is telling her he's going to fix because he's let her down so many times in the past. So we move to... She invites Kai over for dinner, which is just odd. He brings one of his henchmen with him, and then we proceed to a Manwich commercial.
Yeah, sloppy Joes, man.
What is it? A sandwich is just a sandwich, but a manwich. Manwich.
Yeah, I don't know how it goes. But
like I'm old, and I remember that commercial. When they said it, I chuckled, but now I can't even think of what the actual line is from the commercial. Yeah, right. Yeah, now we get. Speaking of commercials, I'm gonna go off of. Have you seen the new M&M Snickers show? That's like, yeah, the dude in the boat.
Dude, that boat commercial is the shit. That commercial is so awesome.
Yes, it is, and I'm like, why? Because we're gonna go on a tangent.
Tell me the first time you saw it. Right, the first time you saw it. Did you not think like you accidentally either changed the channel or like something new had started up in the middle?
I was like, I was like, is this a trailer? Like, am I getting a trailer?
Yeah, because I didn't see, because at the beginning when I watched it again, when I saw it again, like there's like a they say Snickers before.
Do they?
And then also, yeah, and then it kind of like fades to black and it goes to black for a little bit, and then all of a sudden this thing starts up. And so basically you kind of forget what it's all about, and then of course they flash it at the end. But the first time I watched that, I was like, what fucking weird show is this? Oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I was so into it.
I completely agree with everything you have said. And I was highly, especially when you realize what it is. Like, you're watching it, you're like, oh, look, this guy's fishing. And then the can pops up and you're like, oh no. You're like, oh God, it's a reverse situation. It's like, oh God. And then they like hook him. Like they hook, and I'm like,
yeah, dude, they legit hooked him too, man. Like, I was like, oh my God.
And then at the end, it's like, it's, you see all these things. I'm like, ooh, you candies. Like, you don't even care if people get mad at this commercial because everyone's buying you right now anyways.
Yeah. You're like, I just made a weird commercial and everyone is amazingly hooked on it.
Not to mention every kid is watching it just like shit themselves. Like every kid who's been or any kid who's planned to go fishing with their father because it looks so fun. Now you've seen it from what it would look like if someone went fishing for us, and it's like, that's so sad, Dad. I can't do that with the fish.
Yeah, that's true.
Any father and son or father and daughter moments are now ruined. It will never occur because of that commercial. So after our break from our talk about American Horror Story on a podcast that is not sponsored by Mars, I'll guarantee you that, we will move on to the last little bit of the episode. Or actually, we're still at dinner because we're talking commercials. So Allie tells Kai that Dr. Vincent is planning to have him committed.
Yeah, she's basically like, look, your brother has gone rogue and give me my kid, and here's your information.
Right. I like how she said, "You're going to promise to get me Oz before I tell you what I know."
Yeah.
That's when you know some shit. Fantastic, but I need your word that you're going to do what I need you to do for me. I love when she has the power. Oh, it's so fantastic. So
her character is far more enjoyable now.
I mean, she killed that man. She killed Dr. Vincent with her words.
Yeah, good. Who gives a fuck, man? I like that she doesn't care either.
I know. Good for her. After all this, it's time to start killing people yourself.
Yeah, after all her bullshit, man, dude, she should be throwing everybody under the bus that she possibly could, just so they get axed.
All you hear,
like she'll, and especially with Kai at the helm, like she'll never have to actually lift a finger to do any of it.
Absolutely, and
she could just play him.
All everybody else should hear is just the backup sounds of a bus, because she's just gonna be chucking people the whole time.
Yeah, seriously.
So Allie spills the beans on Dr. Vincent. And our final scene is, I would probably say, my favorite scene of this season of American Horror Story Cult so far.
Yeah, it was a good scene. Like, even though I knew what it was about to be, I was still like, oh, snap, you know?
Right. So we have two hooded individuals being brought into Kai's house, and they are, well, part of me was like, well, you're going to kill him, just try to walk him down the fucking stairs with a hood on. I'm like, how? It's like, my big fat ass would just fall down the stairs.
Yeah, he'd be like, God damn it, if you're going to kill me, man, at least just like make this part easy, you jackasses.
Yeah, thanks for taking me to the basement. Come on. So they take both the people downstairs. They kneel them in front of Kai. All of the crew is around. You have all of the clowns are dressed. And when they reveal who's under the hoods, you see it's Dr. Vincent and it's Beverly. And all the clowns start circling the two of them, and like one of the best looks is when Beverly sees her clown outfit, and she's like, "What the fuck? Like, who's wearing my shit?"
She's more like, "How the hell are we the same goddamn size?"
Yeah, who is the same size as me? And so like, you know, I was tweeting, we were live tweeting that night, and I was like, "Who's wearing your outfit now, Beverly?" So Kai goes for Dr. Vincent first. They talk about childhood and about how he was Dr. Vincent was the one that showed him the pinky promise, and he's the one that started with him, and so he goes for it again.
Yeah, he basically pulls you in, nice sentimental wrap up, like, "Hey man, hey brother, remember we used to never lie to each other?" And his brother's like, "Oh yeah, dude, definitely. This is cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, and everything will be okay, and then I can like figure out how to like get him." And then he's like,
and then just snap, snosh, whatever you want to call the noise that happens when you cut someone's finger off with a pair of pruning shears.
Yeah, dude, he did it so quickly too.
That was rough. Quickly. That was rough, and he let him sit there and whine about it for a few seconds, and then he stabs him in the neck.
Yeah, that was terrible. I thought it was the shoulder at first, and I was like, oh, maybe he's alive.
Yeah, there's a pretty good chance he's not alive, Corey. I'm sorry.
I know. I just want another twist upon a twist upon a twist. Like, let's just keep the twist going. Like, I want it to be so convoluted by the last episode that all the caring and all the not caring was worth it.
The show goes to black, and you just walk up to your TV and just push it off the stand.
Yeah, I just turn my remote in. I call up the cable company. I'm like, here, just take this. I don't ever need this. I don't even have your service, but here, take this. Just go away.
I found this remote. Come take it from me. I'm done. So then Kai focuses on Beverly, and she lets him have it. I got to give her credit for her balls, man, because she was just like, I don't care. You guys don't see he's crazy, you know. And then at the end, she's like, if you're gonna just fucking kill me. Like, it's better than having to deal with your bullshit.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't want this to be drawn out. Just go ahead and end it. God,
just get it over with. Yeah, she's just like, I'm done with being under your thumb anymore. And you know, at that point, truthfully, he couldn't kill her because then it would be somebody who's asking for it and wanting it, and it's not his MO really. So he says, I've got what I've got in store for you is worse than death, or something to that effect.
Yeah, like, death's too good for you. What I got in store for you is way worse, or some shit.
Right. So that all this is leaving her as an open end because she's gonna be the one that gets you. She's gonna be the one to get you. But Yeah, so he sends her off to wherever, they take her wherever, and then the clowns all unmask, and for a minute there, I just thought it was going to be just a, whatever, but of course, because some of the clowns that were filling the shoes of folks who were dead were just some of his lackeys that we don't know the names nor care their names.
Yeah.
And, Ivy takes off her mask, you got Redneck, one-armed guy in his mask, and it goes around, and we get to Beverly's mask, and we're like, okay, who's it going to be? And I think most, if not all of us, before she took it off, goes, I know it's Allie. And if it hadn't been Allie, we'd all been let down. So.
Yeah, no, it was definitely cool that it was Allie.
Yeah, it's great that it's Allie. And what's even better is just how stone cold, just badass look she had. And Ivy's look was just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, dude, her face was like, oh, son of a bitch. This can't be happening.
Right. It's definitely just what a good ending, what a good cliffhanger, a good show all around. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Like I said, I even enjoyed last week's to a certain extent. But this week, I like the fact that both you and I can agree on a show. This is the first time we'd agreed on American Horror Story. Well, no, we agreed when it was shit earlier, truth be told.
Yeah, I mean, we agreed on how bad the writing was and how, great the actors are and how, that's the only thing keeping me going is the fact that I loved every other season so much that it was almost a shock to how awfully written this one was.
Started out, right? So yeah, so that's our Two Dads review and recap of American Horror Story episode 8. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Any final thoughts for it, Corey? Is that about it?
No, I think that sums it up. It was pretty, it had a good twist, but there's not really much else you can add to it or take away from, I think, what we talked about. I'm definitely looking forward to the next 2 episodes. I think one of the 2 episodes, Evan Peters may play Charles Manson in a flashback scene of some other cult, like we saw with Andy Warhol. I think I saw him in makeup, unless it was some sort of troll online. I don't know if it was or not, but I think he plays Charles Manson for a flashback scene to that cult. So it could That'd be kind of cool.
Well, Evan Peters, like I said, I want a season of American Horror Story where it's just Evan Peters playing every role in the show, like every single character in the entire show. He could do it, damn it. So yeah. Anyways, that's it for us for American Horror Story. If you are still staying on for Star Trek Discovery, it will pick up right after the break. If you are only here for American Horror Story Cult, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in every week. If it's your first time here, welcome. We're pretty crazy, but we try to keep it a little bit low key. We got kids sleeping and stuff in the back, so we can't be too rowdy. But please come back next week. We will continue with the throughout American Horror Story, and we'll go on from there. Thank you for listening, and Star Trek is coming up right after this. What this is, I don't know. All right, so we are back from our non-break for Star Trek Discovery, Episode 6. We are ready to just get into another fantastic episode of Discovery. And I keep seeing, going over the Facebook pages and, the Star Trek dedicated Facebook pages. I've had some that have been like, hey, look, we're a fan site. So if you're not a fan of the show, you need to get the fuck off this site. Like, I'm sorry. Like, don't get on here and troll about how much you hate the show. And there are a good number of people who don't like the show because it's not their Star Trek. But I don't know. I still love it. I can't hate on it. But there is something I can hate on, Corey, this week.
What's that?
I can hate on CBS All Access and their ability to not stream shit. Corey and I are both in IT to a certain extent, and we know a little bit about computers. We're not just 2 guys who are just armchair quarterbacking with no knowledge of how things work. But okay, if you are going to not release a show in the entire season like Netflix does it, and allow the people to go see it on their own time, and you have sporadic chunks of people who are not watching the show at the same time, you have to have X number of servers who can handle that bandwidth. The problem with releasing a show Sunday night is that you go from your weekly watches, people who don't watch it live, like you, Corey, who've never had a problem with the stream because you watch it a day or so after, because, we don't record this until Wednesday of the week of the day, the Sunday after it airs. So there is a vast difference in the amount of servers and bandwidth it takes to serve your normal weekly, other than Sunday at 8:30 crowd, this new episode, as there is the night it's released at 8:30. You probably have to have, I don't know. You know why I don't know the number of servers or the number or the percentage more servers you'll need, Corey? Because CBS hasn't released viewer numbers. They haven't released gains since the show started. None of those numbers have been released to the public, but they've given it a season 2, so it's not losing them money.
Yeah, but they're definitely gaining all kinds of money from this.
Not to mention, I believe that Netflix paid for this entire first season, which is why Netflix has it the next day, and anywhere else but the U.S., they're watching this on Netflix. And Canada, they're watching it on some space channel, whatever, like some space streaming thing. It's not Netflix or whatever, but we love Canada, so that's fine. But you can't release a show and then on top of it have a follow-up show talking Trek that literally just they go right from one to the other, and if you've spent 30 minutes trying to restart your stream, you're not going to get Talking Trek live, which is okay unless you're want to participate in the stupid polls they have or the questions they do, or tweet at them and see if they can pull your tweet out of the friggin' billion of tweets that are coming at them to read about it on the air. That I don't hate... Okay, I do hate CBS All Access for the way they've run this entire situation. I've said it since the beginning of the show. But Sunday night was an aberration, and it was an atrocity, and every other bad word I can think of for what they did to the streaming. And the worst part was, the error on their site when the stream died was, check your internet connection. And I was I got on my server that's jacked into my internet, my router directly, and I was like, nope, 200 megabits down, motherfuckers. Now, where's your internet? Check your internet.
You check your internet, man. It ain't my internet. You check your internet.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I tweeted. Because it makes it really hard to live tweet a streaming show that's not streaming correctly. And then on top of it, because I'm a cheap bastard and we don't have many people sponsoring us, I'm paying the $6.99 one, so I get all the commercials. So even if you get... The worst part is the commercials, crystal clear. Crystal fucking clear, but the show itself, whatever is serving up the commercials, is not the same thing that's serving up the show. And it was sad for everybody, and you've got to have some rental servers that you use for bandwidth at 8:30 to 9:30 or 8:30 to Sunday evening to midnight. Just have some more servers that you need for your bandwidth just for that time frame, and then you can go back to your shitty server farm because you didn't have any subscribers 5 weeks ago. So just do that, CBS, instead of fucking all of us in the ass up front. Thanks for that. Thanks for everything you've done for us, assholes. So, yeah. And they refused to come on our show to refute that. I asked them, I tweeted at them and said, you can come on my podcast and talk to us about your server farm and how it sucks. But they didn't respond, so I'm not surprised there.
Yeah, because we are definitely on their radar.
There's no way we're not. That had to go in front of the president of CBS.
Yes, I'm sure it did. And then he found our addresses, and then soon we'll be losing our houses.
Yeah, it's fine. We can do this from a box. We can do this from a McDonald's in the back corner with free Wi-Fi. We're fine.
That's true.
No problem. So once we got to watch the show all the way through, Corey, Mr. non-old school hardcore many years Trekkie, is it still good TV?
Yeah, man, it's a great show. It's awesome.
Just bits and pieces that were fantastic. What stood out to you the most this episode?
I mean, shit, dude, the intro's good. You just get Tilly running, and then they're having their little conversation. It's just good TV. She comes on the screen, and you instantly just get happy. You know, like you're like, all right, dude, whatever's about to happen is going to be awesome.
This is going to be great no matter what happens. It could go bad, it could go good. She's going to make it fantastic.
Yeah, and then I like the Doctor when he was all like stony baloney now. Like he's all super nice guy, all like, hey, man. Right? Yes.
Groovy.
Yes, groovy.
I was like, wow. I was like, we're going, that like those shrooms take you back, sir. Take you way back, like hundreds of years back, if we're using groovy again. Maybe it came back in like the 2200s. Maybe it got cool again. Who knows? Maybe it's not as old as we think it is.
Yeah, touche.
You know how trends come and go. That's just the way it works. So let's start out then. So the episode opens on Vulcan, and Sarek is getting ready to board a shuttlecraft, and he's been paired with some other douchey Vulcan nerdy looking guy, and Sarek pretty much just he tells him to fuck off in Klingon or in Vulcan, which is like, I'll worry about the politics, you were about the piloting. Like, just, ignorance is bliss. Just chill over there and just don't talk to me that much. Along with him and wherever he's going, which we find out later. So we're like, oh, that's interesting. What's going to happen to Sarek now? So, and then we switch to what you mentioned. Tilly and Burnham are PTing in the. Tilly is continuing her mission to learn everything she can about Burnham and how to fast track herself to the captain's chair, which kudos on her. It's good that of all the people we hear from, and this is of course from the Admiral, so you have bitches from all over, about people who are upset that she's on the Discovery, that Burnham is on the Discovery, and that Captain Lorca has taken her under his wing, and she's working again and not, serving her sentence so much. And we hear that like everybody in Starfleet's mad. It's really smart that Tilly has seen past that and seen what, other than that single solitary incident, that Burnham was one of the best and smartest Starfleet officers that have ever worn a uniform to that point. Even Saru admitted it a few episodes ago. So the fact that she's learning from her is so cool and speaks so much for, while she's goofy and funny at times and she's quirky and it's the greatest thing in the world, she's smarter than everybody on that damn ship.
Oh, yeah.
By tapping into Burnham.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's like her and Lorca are the only two that see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, everybody else like I don't know. It's either too standoffish or Michael just hasn't been exposed to him. So
yeah, they haven't seen how awesome she is.
Yeah, but I would feel like the few like missions they've already done, like okay, like when last episode when Lorca was like talking about bouncing all around and all the shit they've saved. Like, Micah was part of every one of those missions.
Right.
So, like, I feel like everybody around should be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool, good call. Like, she's done enough good to make up for being a quote-unquote mutineer when she was trying to save everyone's life.
Exactly.
Basically by fast-tracking what they're already in.
Right, very true. And yeah, so it's we like living in that gray area. Like, yeah, we know you did something bad, but that's only one thing. We're fine. Like, you're fantastic. You've saved the ship 100 times.
Yeah. I mean, everybody and everything should be treated like it's on a scale, dude. Like, you got enough bad and you got enough good. Like, there's nobody that's pure in any way, shape, or form.
Except Tilly.
Yeah, but even Tilly's like, I feel like Tilly's mixed, isn't she?
I don't know. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, in any way, like no one is 100% anything, right?
No, you're right. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. I was like, hold on, man. Am I going crazy here? But like,
no, of the pure people, she's the closest.
Oh yeah, dude. By heart and soul, she is 100% pure. Yes, like she is an aura that should be sold in bottles.
Exactly, and I love going. I make it a point to write down her lines throughout the show because everything else we could pretty much cover, but the lines they give her require me to write them down exactly. So during their run, she's like, Burnham tells her personality. She's running like 6.5 seconds. Shave it off your time. You'll get accommodation for physical endurance. And this, that, and the other. And then Tilly's like, what about personality? And she goes, personality doesn't count. And then Tilly goes, that's just something people with no personality say, which in no way means you.
Yeah, I didn't mean you.
She's just so cute. It's so amazing. Oh, and then we get the first mention of a Constitution class ship, and we get the first mention of the Enterprise, which is a Constitution class ship, in case you didn't know that's what that ship design is called, is the Constitution class. But we learned that while the Discovery is a brand new ship, the Constitution class ships are seen as something to aim for, at least in Burnham's like fast track to captaincy, like get stationed, get assigned to a Constitution class ship like the Enterprise, and then rise in the ranks there, and you'll be set up for command. So that's kind of cool. First mission of the Enterprise. So mark that on the calendar. Episode 6. We know it's there, by God. We already knew it was there, but someone's actually said it out loud. So
yeah, I got nothing for that.
I know you don't.
Because that was out of my realm. I was like, all right, yep.
Yep, the Enterprise. I know it's.
Yeah, it was a thing. Cool.
Not a problem. I know I lose you. All the folks listening get a lot more of me this half of the podcast than you, just because of my vast.
Well, dude, it was like I was telling you earlier. Like sometimes you get. It's not that you get talking and rambling. Like you get to very good explanations about things, and I go from being co-host to audience member, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, you still? Oh yeah, hey, oh shit, dude, sorry, man. Like I was just totally daydreaming about what you were talking about. Sorry, I was really."
That's right, and they never hear it because I cut those pauses out real nice in post. So after their PT session, we moved to Lorca and Ash Tyler, who is the guy he brought over was the other prisoner on the Klingon ship. They are involved in a firefight with Klingons. We find out that it's a training session. A holodeck, holosuite, some sort of early iteration of that, some sort of training room with holograms and fake weapons and whatever. And during this firefight where they're all doing all kinds of crazy Rambo, Schwarzenegger moves, diving and sliding and all kinds of crazy stuff, Lorca's grilling Tyler on where you grew up, tell me about your family. Like he's grilling him as they're in this battle scene, and he's not just asking to ask, because you can just read this stuff in a log, as we learn, and he says, I believe, in this scene as well. But I don't think I continue to stick. Okay, so after last week when I said
he's not a bad guy,
I want to say it because after you shut me down last week, not really, but after you told me I was crazy, I read 4 or 5 articles. And people were all over about this. So I'm not the only one thinking that he's Voq or...
Yeah, I know. It's because all you guys are grasping at straws wanting something. And they're like, oh, maybe they're going to reiterate this Tiddlywink episode, or maybe they're going to pull from this old storyline. I saw those too, man. It's all BS. It's all BS.
Let me go through what has to happen for him to be either Voq or at least a plant by the Klingons. Okay? So here we go. And I will argue both sides of my conspiracy just real quick. So for him to be just a plant, he could be Starfleet and then have spent 6 months being brainwashed or whatever by the Klingons and then just thrown back in. So his history is already there. All these files... his past service stuff, everything is already in the works, good to go, not a problem. That's an easier idea if we're going with him being just a double agent and working. He is a human, but working for the Klingons. Now, let me go to the Voq side. If he is Voq, if L'Rell took Voq to the matriarchy, who then did their magic and medicine and prosthetic him into looking like a human, that's easy enough. But then to build his background in the Starfleet database, I know they were floating out there with a whole bunch of disabled Starfleet ships while they were kind of just, so maybe they hacked, maybe because it's wartime, they're not really paying close attention to, records and how things are going, so something could have gotten uploaded. That's a lot harder for me to take in as an IT guy. Like, are you not seeing someone planting this stuff? But they would have to have built, since Lorca said, I've read your records, someone had to get those records falsified and put in and all this backstory. And that's a lot of work to do in 7 months to build an entire person. But go ahead. I heard you breathe.
But I was just gonna say, I mean, if we're gonna believe that it's a Cleon disguised as a human, then we're also gonna have to say that he could pull off the backstory in 7 months. Like, I know there's been record of it, but when you're going to accept that someone's getting a face-off happening, you're gonna have to accept other things with it. Like, maybe he did get kung fu training and accept it in 3 months and is now a black belt.
Well, I mean,
maybe he was just really that gifted. Who knows? But because somehow we let him metamorph to another thing, we're gonna go with it.
well, he shows extreme firefight. Like he kills after trying to be like humble and like, oh, I only shot 22 and you got 24, Captain. He actually shot like 36, and the captain's like, don't apologize for excellence. The captain also tells him that he fights like a Klingon, and he's like, well, I was on with them for 7 months, so some of that stuff kind of rubbed off. I don't think Lorca believes him completely, and when he offers him the chief of security job, while that's a very high-ranking and high-exposure position, the chief of security is almost always by the captain's side. So if you were just to let him be a part of the crew, you would have to convince the person who's his, the person that chief security reports to is the captain. So there's not like you have to convince anybody else down the chain of command that this guy, to keep an eye on this guy any more than anybody else. Yeah. So but also putting a person who's possibly a plant as your chief of security is a bad idea. It's probably the best of both worlds. And my last point on the Vogue thing, this is actually outside of the storyline, and everybody can go ahead and pull up their phones and look it up. Go to IMDb and look at the actor. Go to the Star Trek Discovery page and go find the actor. Go find the Vogue character and look at who the actor is. And then you click on that actor's name and you go to his IMDb. Number one, his picture is just him in full Vogue outfit, full Vogue Klingon makeup. There's no other pictures of him. He's been in no other shows except Discovery. He's not a real person. Like, whoever plays Vogue is not just someone they just found who's a great actor. Like, this guy's not even a real person. The real person is the guy who's playing Ash Tyler. I'm just saying. So I'm so sorry. Like, that if I hadn't known that tidbit, I would be just thinking I'm a nutball and all of us are just fishing for straws. But I really think that's what the case is. Yeah,
but he was also cast to play like another Cleon.
Who?
Too. The security officer guy.
The guy he has 2 listings on his thing, like Klingon security guy number 4 or something.
No, so before he got his Starfleet role, like, he was brought on to be Cole, like Kol.
Oh yeah.
And I guess, like, for whatever reason, like, that didn't work out, so he became the security officer. But I wouldn't be surprised, like,
it could just be a red herring too. Like, they're just doing that to mess with us.
Like, well, that too. Like, but I wouldn't be surprised if he plays both characters. But I also would be more of, we already cast him as a Cleon. Like, maybe he, like, I don't know. Like, let's say they had to measure everybody for prosthetics so they could slip this shit back in, and they're like, look, dude, we've already measured this guy up. Like, he can play 2 roles. We'll just make him a security officer. We'll keep everybody on their toes by putting up this bullshit IMDb shit, and then, like, here you go.
Possibly. That's also a great idea. It's not nearly as fun as my ideas.
No, it's not. I just like as I was reading this stuff today about it, because I was like, all right, because I got interested when you showed me that, like, the dude doesn't exist, and I was like, okay. So I read a couple of them just to see what, like, their idea was, and either it was your idea that you've said, or it was basically, what I just brought up was how, like, they're just doing that so he doesn't get too credit for, not really that he doesn't get too credit, but it's like,
it doesn't confuse us.
It doesn't confuse the fucking fans of the show.
Right.
So
maybe. I also looked. I'm not good at anagrams, so I was like looking at the letters and I was like, no, there's a Q in there and no use. There's no way it's anybody else's like name like flopped around, like they just jumbled letters to make a different name.
Did you start writing them all down to see what you could make up of it?
No, that's because I know I'm stupid, can't do those. But I looked at it. I looked at it for like a good 30 seconds, and I'm like, no, I don't see any words in there. I don't see anything else.
It's funny that you mentioned anagram because that was my first thought when I read the name. Was I immediately started looking to
the actor that played Tyler to see if it was just an anagram.
To see if there was any like other words that stood out really quickly when I rearranged the letters.
Well, anything other than Javid. Like I was like, were they added D's? Did the D on the printer not work when you guys? What's going on here? So yeah. Anyways, that's our little side thing. We'll see what happens. We'll learn, at some point, hopefully, or maybe. But the thing is also is that the guy's never done an interview. So like, you're right, he doesn't exist. He's never done an interview. He's never, anytime the cast is asked about that actor, either they say, yeah, I've worked with him and he's an actor on Discovery, or they cut the interview short. Like the CBS rep's like, nope, we got to go. Thank you for your time. And they head out. Like that happened with the guy that played Cole. Like he was being interviewed and he was trying to dance around and they just cut the interview off. Just being sneaky. That's cool. I'm fine with that. But yeah, anyways, all right. So we'll move on. We're back on the Vulcan shuttle and we find out that the guy traveling with Sarek is a logic extremist. Body bomb thing that turns you into a human, or Vulcan bomb, excuse me. And, Sarek is able, during the guy's long-winded monologue of dying, of why, Sarek's fascination with humans will end here and I'll be seen as a martyr and blah, 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 things that bombers say.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, if you're going to blow somebody up, like, why are you going to inject something into yourself that takes 15 to 45 seconds to fucking work and blow up? Like, you could see, like, Sarek, like, sitting there, like, counting it down in his head and, like, just so he could time those keystrokes.
Exactly,
like,
which he almost did. He pulled up that shield, but a little piece grazed him. Got him hurt pretty good, so he's down, and we break to the intro of the show. So we're like, oh no, what's gonna happen to Sarek? We know he survives because he's in further stuff in the timeline. So he makes it, pretty sure. So we open back at the mess hall. Tilly and Burnham have finished their workout, and they're going to the replicators to get breakfast or whatever, and Tilly's tries to order like green juice, extra green, and Burnham ends up correcting her and ordering bean burritos. And this is another wonderful moment with Tilly where she's like leaning up against the replicator and trying to like get in a word edgewise. And then finally, when Burnham gives her a break, she's like, "Computer, add salsa."
Yeah, that was good. I was chuckling at that.
And then she's like, "Oh my God, you're so scary." But okay, so I'm stupid, as I've mentioned before. So I was, for a second there last week, I'm like, why do their shirts say, why are there? And I was like, so it's like, that's like the shortened name for Discovery. And I'm just like, do we need that? Like, why do you not just have Discovery on your shirts? Like, it just looks weird. And people like me who are dumb are like, why does your shirt say Disco?
Yeah, a couple extra letters. I don't think, you could have just made the font a touch smaller.
Right.
Put a couple extra letters on there and been done with it.
Exactly. So I'm sad that I'm so stupid I didn't catch it last week, but someone pointed it out, and I'm like, huh. Yeah, why would they do that? But, yeah. So they sit down at the table with Tilly also, like, admits how hot she thinks Tyler is. So, he's dark and mysterious, and she's like, that makes him even hotter.
Yeah. He's like, I'm into it.
Right, so they sit down with him at the table, and Burnham does her normal self-deprecation about her situation, and he's like, no, I judge people from when I meet them, and blah blah blah, and sticks his hand out, and like Tilly has to kick her under the table, like, just shake his friggin' hand, man. And then so she shakes his hand, and then she immediately, like, something is wrong. She grabs her side, she falls to the floor screaming, She sees, she hallucinates Sarek and, laying down across the room from her.
Yeah, she had a crazy mind meld shit going on right there.
Well, and then they did something that kind of makes me upset. Oh wait, no, that's later on. Never mind. I'll hold that comment for later on. So she jumps immediately to Sarek's mind. They're at what I believe is some sort of graduation from the Science Academy or whatever. And we find from Amanda, so it's Amanda Grayson, who is Sarek's wife, Sarek and Burnham talking amongst each other. We find out that she was top of her class, number one. We find out that her test scores for all the things she's trying to get into are better than any Vulcan. I had the closed captions on. That's what Amanda said. She was better than any Vulcan. So even when Sarek's like, but they still won't accept her to where she wants to go. So even when Sarek is like explaining to her that, she has problems, with logic and things like that, Amanda's like, give her a break. She's better than everybody sitting out here. And then Burnham, who's in the dream, not the one at graduation, but the current Burnham, she gets seen. Sarek in the dream sees her. And then, like, as you and I both put, which is why we are friends, because we were watching the show at completely different times, but tweeting about it, we literally both tweeted about the Hadouken that he gives her in his dream.
Oh, yeah, man. She got rocked. He was just like, Hadouken! She just flew straight out of the dream.
So, yeah, and this is what I was going to talk about a second ago. At that point, when she's being knocked out of the graduation memory, and she's just in like that space. It's like space around her, and Sarek's talking to her. He gives her almost verbatim the same lines he told her in like the earlier episode about why they're linked. And I'm like, okay, it's not for the two of them, so it's for the audience, but we fucking know. Like, we don't have to tell me again, especially with the exact same words. We know you're linked. We know it's your Katra. We know it's because of the bombing. Like, you don't have to tell me again. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, well, I did. And I was like, man, like, don't tell me it again. We know. We pay attention. We know these things. It's fine. Just keep on keeping on. We know why they're linked. It goes both ways. I got it. She went into his mind. It's not real hard to figure out. So yeah, but
she's a human. No one's ever done it.
And we're humans, and we're so stupid. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
It's all right though. It's not really that big of a deal. Like a little more explanation sometimes never hurt. I mean, especially for guys like me who I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, probably I didn't notice it because it was just like know it. Me, I'm like, I know it because, yeah, I was just told it, but you're telling me again. So, like, I'm not mad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still new enough to me where I'm like, yep, that's cool. I appreciate that refresher.
Okay, well, good. Then it was for somebody. I rescind my bitch about it. It made its point to who it made its point, who it was intended to make its point to.
It's for the me's out there. That's what it's there for.
Understood. I will not gripe about that kind of retelling anymore. Okay, so she wakes up in sickbay. Nothing's wrong with her physically that doctor can figure out. She starts talking about to Tilly like where she's been, like, or what she was. He believed by proving that she could best all these courses and all these classes and stuff like that. And we do learn that the bombing we saw from the earlier episodes when she was a child at not with her parents, but when she was on Vulcan and the learning center got bombed, that it was the logic extremists, like the guy on the shuttlecraft, who did the actual bombing, not Klingons or something else, some other sort of act of terrorism.
Yeah, it was terrorist activity
within the Klingon.
Within the
Vulcan. Excuse me. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we also learned that she was dead for 3 minutes when she was a child, and the Katra from Sarek is what saved her. She called it a soul graft, which is like, I was like, wow, and it's very rare and it's frowned upon being used in the Vulcan culture apparently. But she was Sarek's experiment, and he was not going to lose her to these crazy extremists. So he pulled her back after being dead for 3 minutes, which is crazy.
What do you think? It was she was his experiment, or that she is his daughter?
No, he said she was I mean, everyone thought of her as an experiment because he's trying to prove that humans are equal to Vulcans, and Vulcans are having none of that.
I know. I get that, but I'm asking from his point of view. You called her an experiment. I'm saying when he saved her life, because if she was an experiment, he would have just let it go.
Well, no. There is a level of,
because, like, she called him dad in this episode.
Oh, she does too. She drops father like with a finger.
Yeah, and like I think you're seeing from his side of how Vulcans say they comprehend their emotions and they only use what needs to be used in the right order and blah 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 blah.
Is that how I sound?
No. That's how Vulcans sound to me sometimes. But you can see that one of the highest ranking Vulcans, like, they have emotion. You know?
Oh, yeah. Vulcans feel, they just suppress it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but you're starting to see that he doesn't suppress it as much as he probably still should, or in Vulcan eyes. Like, I'm saying, like, he's never been one to really give a fuck, it appears.
True. He's so good at what he does that he definitely shows more emotion than he probably should as a Vulcan, and his fascination with humans, i.e. marrying one, having children with one, agree that there is a certain level of love that whatever Sarek considers love for her when she was dead to bring her back. I would say that part of the logic fed into that, but it wasn't just because she was an experiment. You are correct.
Cool.
Right? That gets you? Is that better?
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, I was just a curious question. I was like, do you really think that that's just how Sarek? Because I don't. Like, I was like, nah, man. I think Sarek views her as 1B because she's a girl, and Spock is 1A because he's a boy. Like he's like, I can love them both equally because they're not. I don't have two boys, or I don't have two girls, kind of thing, and he just doesn't know how. I mean, he's a Vulcan. Like, he just doesn't know how to say it, or like truly express it. You know what I'm saying? But but you see things and little things that he's done by, like, trying to spare her feelings by basically saying, you were too human. That's the reason, and also not because I had to make the most god-awful choice that's ever been presented to me in my life. Where, granted, like, telling her was probably the smarter idea in the long run, but also at the same time, like, you can totally see a father's point of view going, there's no fucking way I'm telling her what the hell I just had to do. Like, no way. I'm not doing that to my child.
And yeah, well, I mean, but leaving her, he's definitely proven through the conversation we've seen so far that he doesn't handle how to communicate with her the best over her childhood and early adulthood.
yeah, no, I'm not. He definitely needs a
refresher.
Parenting guide for dummies,
But I'm going to make her. But my actions will make me believe that. Will make her believe that she failed me miserably.
Yeah. He was like, so I made a bad choice, and then I made an even worse decision by compounding the fact. Right.
So yeah, poor Sarek. Poor Sarek, who's now dying, and his only saving grace is his meld with his human daughter that he loves but can't figure out how to say it right.
Yeah.
So they move to Lorca is talking to another Starfleet Vulcan in Starfleet, probably a Starfleet headquarters, about the situation about Sarek. We learned that Sarek was asked by two Klingon houses that were these houses were supposedly ousted by Cole, so they're trying to undermine his authority. So he was asked to meet them on neutral ground. The elders of Cancri 4 are hosting them. That's the planet they're on, whatever. I checked, we've never heard of them before in the Starfleet universe. So they're nobody, big heads that are, in the background of the last scene or whatever. And so they're heading to the nebula where he was last seen in. And Lorca's like, no, we got him. We'll go get him. It's fine. He just like hangs up on the guy.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm done with you.
So that can't go bad at all. So they arrive at the location where Sarek was via S Drive. So I immediately typed in my notes like, how are we traveling S Drive? Like, there's no tardigrade, and Stamets almost died the first time. So are we still using Stamets? And they find out they can't use scanners. They can't, because of the nebula, they can't use probes because it would take like months to finish things. So Burnham's like, it's got to be me. I've got the connection. I'll have to find him and wake him using our connection so he can tell us where he's at. So they go to...
Yeah. I was like, what are they going to use? Or like a hot and cold device out there in this nebula and try to like find him? Like, how the hell are they doing this?
Yeah, they're just trying to get close so she can wake him up or something, which is what she ends up doing. And then they go down to engineering, where we have Groovy High Stamets, who has... So we're apparently still using Stamets to travel, which is great. He's loving it. He is... The captain says, clearly your trip down the mycelium path has lightened your mood. So he's...
Yeah, right?
He's high as a kite. The shuttlecraft, they can't take the Discovery into the nebula because of whatever plot device they wanted to use. So they had to send a shuttlecraft. So Burnham's going on the shuttle. She requests Tilly, to the captain. So I love that she's taking her mentor role and she's putting this girl out there.
They did the whole S Drive thing. Remember, they built that supercomputer. And they like made the map of it. Like, so when they pulled up, they started recording it because they were like, we can't keep using the tardigrade.
They still have to have the tardigrade DNA stuff, and it has to be in the sentient being, which is Stamets. And he said in this conversation, like, once you get past the needles, it's not so bad. Like, they're still sticking him. They literally must have like the doctor guy like right next to him, like, okay, patch you up, you're fine, you're high but you're fine. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, since it's been almost a week since the last episode, I can't imagine him still being high like 6 days later. Like, this is like fresh high, like right out of the chamber.
Yeah,
high.
I just figured it changed his personality with that whole weird mirror thing and all that crap. So I just was like, maybe he's just enlightened now, quote unquote.
And they didn't even touch on that this episode at all. They didn't even...
No, not at all. They were like, hey, by the way, here's your creepy fucking mirror, and we'll circle back to this, you assholes, when you forget about it.
Right, we'll do that on episode 9 right before we go on our break, after charging your CBS All Access account one more time. What? Sorry. I'm not bitter. It's fine. So, moving on, she's taken Tilly... and then Lorca's like, I have an idea who can pilot the shuttlecraft. We find out, of course, it's Tyler, because why not? Plot device. That's fantastic. He goes to Tyler and says, hey, bring her back in one piece. And Tyler's like touching the panel. He's like, not a scratch on her. And the captain's like, no, I'm not talking about the shuttlecraft. I'm talking about her. And then he goes, or don't come back at all, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, he's like, just don't, dude, if you don't bring her back, just keep your ass out in the nebula.
Yep. What was that? Where are they?
Oh, the nebula? There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, that was as mid-stroke.
Nice. So we also find out after he threatens Tyler that Admiral Cornwell has shown up in a shuttlecraft. Like, she came to the ship to be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we told you not to come out here. Or we didn't tell you to come out here. You got to go by the chain of command. I mean, it's.
Then his reply was, "Hey, I do what I want to do. You want to get drunk and talk as friends?"
Right. Well, and actually, yes, they do go there. But hold on a second. She does mention that they're still using. She mentions also that they're still doing eugenics, which is Stamets. So she does mention that in the conversation, like, you're still doing eugenics with your friggin' your chief engineer. So we do know they're still using Stamets to travel, which is just hilarious. That's great. But then Lorca hits her with, she's like, there's rules, and he goes, rules are for admirals and back offices. He's like, I'm out there trying to win a war. So it's like,
yeah, he's like, I got time for this bullshit. I don't got time for regulations.
Right. He doesn't have time for regulations until it benefits him.
Yes, very true.
But yes, once they're done talking, you can literally say, "Oh yeah, you guys have banged numerous times." Like you can just cut it with a knife, the sexual tension between you two.
Yeah, ridiculously thick.
Yeah, so they definitely they retired to his cabin. That we'll find out later on. So on the shuttlecraft, they're setting Burnham up to go under with the mechanical mind meld creator that they built like in an hour in engineering. And you get the old "don't pull me out" trope for anybody who's in any movie.
Yeah. No matter what, leave me in.
Right. No matter what the thing says, if I'm dying, don't pull me out. Leave me in. I got to do this.
Yeah.
So I just
because I brought you along for this reason alone, for you to let me die.
Right. So they put her under. She's immediately back to the same graduation ceremony. We see Amanda giving her the Alice in Wonderland book that she still currently has. They talk about when they did a book exchange back on when she was like 10, when they went on vacations, to the seventh mood of Iridani D. I wrote it down. I may as well say it out loud. And Amanda reminds her, while you've been raised Vulcan, you have to remember to nurture your human side. And we find out that she is rejected from the Vulcan Expeditionary, has been rejected from the Vulcan Expeditionary Group, or we think she has at least. And then in dream, let's see, how do I put it? Today, Burnham, who's in the dream, hollers to Sarek, "Why are you doing this?" And he's like, "I keep telling you this is my mind." And then they get into she's ready for his Hadouken, and she counters that shit and goes to town on him.
Yeah, they had a pretty solid Matrix-y kind of battle. I liked it.
Very good fighting. Very good fight choreography. And of course, as she's getting hit back in the nebula, she's jerking and showing, she's crashing on the table, and Ash is like, "Pull her out," because he doesn't want to die. He doesn't stay out the nebula. He wants to bring her back.
Yeah, seriously, he's like, guys, I gotta make sure she's okay.
Right, and then he pulls the whole he's like, "I outrank you," until he's like, "Fine."
She's like, "Oh, what a dick.
I'm such a good person. Okay, fine, I'll pull her out."
Yeah, all right. You saying you have rank finally swayed me.
You're like, okay, if you're gonna pull that card, I'm not gonna go full Burnham on you and mutiny this thing. So I know where to draw the line. We'll just pull her out, and she can yell at me later. Yeah. So that was that. We pick up back at Lorca's quarters, where they're having a single malt and sharing stories of old times and all the other times they've killed bottles of scotch and rubbed parts
together at night.
Rubbed parts together and bumped uglies and all that good stuff. So what did they talk about? Oh God, his lines are so horrible. Okay, so I wrote this down because she mentions that his performance has not been the same. Like, she's like, "It's been a week since you were being tortured, and now you're back in the chair. You've passed all your, psych exams with flying colors. Like, I can't tell, from the reports I'm reading if you're okay or just fooling the system." And he's like, "I'm sorry, am I?" She's like, how does being back in the chair make you feel?" He's like, "I'm sorry, are we in session now?" And then
basically.
And then he's like, "Because if I have your undivided attention for 50 minutes, I can think of a whole bunch of other things we could be doing."
Yeah.
And I was like, that worked? That worked? Okay, that's cool. I guess fine.
Oh, wow. Never would have thought that to be an icebreaker.
Yeah, but, well, they have a history, so it's not going to work on a first date, but definitely like a rekindle.
Well, that's true.
So he had a little bit of help there. It didn't help that the actress had pink eye. I swear to God, her left eye was so friggin' pink. I had to bring it up. You and I talked about it before we started recording, but man, I was trying to pay attention to the scene, but all I could do was stare at her eye the whole time. I was like, man.
Didn't even notice it. That's hilarious.
I know. That's just the things my weird things I pick up when I watch TV. Yeah, so badges off, pants off, I guess, or whatever it was. She dropped her badge and her pants, and then it was all good times from there. Hey, at least it wasn't her and him and another dude. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, definitely don't need an image of Lorca masturbating.
Anybody who didn't listen, anybody who jumped only to the Star Trek Discovery portion of this podcast missed the American Horror Story portion of a inhumane three-way
of the weirdest devil's three-way that was ever trying to happen.
Right. So just you didn't miss much. Just don't scroll back. I promise. Don't do it. So now we're back in the shuttlecraft, and Burnham is pissed that she got pulled back out, and Tyler's like, I'm laying in a course for Discovery, and Burnham's like, no, you're not. But Tilly's response is, he actually is though.
Yeah.
I have to write down everything she says. I want to do an entire podcast of just reading Tilly's lines. I think it's just I love everything they write for her.
You should do it as
on the blog, right?
No, well that too. That would be cool. But also like as a season ender. Like you're like, hey man, here's my top 20 Tilly comments or moments from the end of the.
We may do that just because we may have the room on our upload section to do like a top 10 Tilly lines. Ooh, I like it. It kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so let's see what's going on next. She convinces him not to leave, and Tyler is actually like giving her some good advice about like when she goes back into Sarek's mind. Like, I doubt that if he's in the brink of death, that his mind is going to how you let him down. I was in captivity for 7 months. It's like I love that he keeps throwing that back at everybody. He's like, I've been on the brink of death, and I'm telling you, that's not what your mind goes to. It goes to what he wishes he had done differently. So go in there and find out what he's not telling you.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, some solid ass advice.
Yeah, especially from a Klingon.
That's why he's not a Klingon, because a Klingon would have never thought of that advice.
Right, he definitely has way too much like humanity.
He's got way too much empathy in him to be a Klingon or a Vulcan or any other thing out there.
There's things like that throw me off. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong, but I've said it and it's on record, so we're good. If I am right, I can unconvince myself and then renege on that completely and say that I was right all along later on when it turns out to be true.
And then claim it when it turns out to be right.
Right. So she goes back into Sarek's mind and she asks him. She said, "What are you hiding?" And he says, "I never lost faith in you. The failure is mine and mine alone." So we see him talking with the whatever it was she was denied for. Now I got to scroll back up, and the Vulcan Expeditionary Group, the head of that, and we find out that he's not so wild about the fact that he has this human who's already bested every Vulcan there, and he also has a son who's coming up a few years behind who hasn't even started in the school that she just graduated from, and all the other Vulcans see them as Sarek's experiments, which is where I got the word from earlier.
Yeah.
And he's like,
okay.
He's like, look, you need to pick Michael or you need to pick Spock. Like, you can't pick him. You can't pick. I can't have two in this expeditionary group. I can have one, but that's it. And we know because she didn't get in. And he tells her that she was rejected, which is not true. That he picked Spock, which sucks even harder because when Spock graduates, and this is well noted throughout the lore of Star Trek, the history, that Spock turns against the Vulcans and says, "No, I'm not joining the Vulcan Expeditionary Group. I'm going to join Starfleet," which was was turning on his father, turning on his race, all that stuff. So he not only did he pick Spock, and then Spock went against his wishes. This damaged Michael when he could have just picked her up front and everything would have been fine.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, I guess that's the whole, that's why it's written that way. You got to have that turmoil coming from somewhere. Oh yeah, and it's got to fit in the timeline somehow. Like, how come it's got to fit in the Alpha timeline somehow. So it makes perfect sense since we didn't know anything about her until this show. So it makes sense. So he shows her how to mind meld, wake him up, and she's telling him, "Wake up, Sarek, tell us where you are." He wakes up on the shuttle, hits the transponder at the last, just
and they find him. Great, awesome. We know Sarek's safe, good to go. Okay, so back to sexy time. Oh, I even forgot to mention that there was like saxophones playing, like when they were talking in Lorca's quarters. Like there was like mood. There was there was like saxophones playing. They were just in the background. It was almost like 23rd century or 24th century, like Kenny G in the background. Man, it was great. I was like, this is fantastic. It's right before his 50 minutes line.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I loved it. So we are post bang. Lorca's asleep, and the Admiral is examining. He's got scars like on his back and like a weird like triangle scar. Which like of all the scars, I was like, whoa, that was different. Like that's a triangle. Like that's something. That's not just like, oh, I got sliced or stabbed or something. That's a triangle branded. Cutting. Yeah, something like that. But she she freaks out, or she touches him and he freaks out, grabs a phaser that was under his pillow somewhere within arm's reach of where he sleeps, and like has her by the throat and has the phaser red. It's on kill, by the way. The red means kill, blue means stun.
Gotcha.
And it's like, and it freaks her the fuck out. And she grabs her clothes. Like she does pretty much what, actually this is 2 girls getting choked in 1 week of shows we've watching. What are we watching, Corey?
I don't know, man. So far, they're real abusive.
They are. They're really. We apologize to the women in this thing. It's horrible. And then she does literally the same storm out the girl did on American Horror Story, and gives a big monologue of like, I don't know if this is you. I can't tell if I can, because Lorca. She's like, I'm taking the shit from you. Like you cannot. Like you are not okay. I'm gonna take Discovery from you. And then like we see Lorca. And I'm using air quotes again because I do them on the podcast all the time, break down because she can't tell if he's truly like cryingly sympathetic. She's like, I can't tell if this is really you. Me.
Yeah, she was like, I hate the fact that I can't tell if you're lying to get what you want or if you're actually telling me the truth and understand that you need help.
Yeah, and that it was kind of cool and emotional, and the actor that plays Lorca is a fantastic actor. So it's like watching him switch from anger to tears to sympathy, all in. It's really cool to me. He's a great actor. It's fun to watch.
It's really good. You're correct.
And I can't tell if it's him, if he's lying or not. I'm pretty sure it's a show because of what happens later on. Here very quickly. So after I think he gets called to sick bay like right after this whole thing happens and she storms out, and we find out that Sarek is survived. He's in stable condition, but Lorca's like, but I know somebody who can.
He's like, I just happened to have her in my room.
Yeah, I mean, I know where she's at. I know what she smells like. It's like, she's great. She's right down the hall. She's not happy with me, though, so someone else has got to go tell her.
Yeah, I got to definitely send someone else.
Right, it cannot be me. But so, from this point, it's like, okay, you see an opportunity to, she's not going to go straight back to Starfleet and report on what she has learned from him. B, she's going to go meet Klingons, so things could go south at any moment in time, and yes, she gets killed, and then your secret dies with her. I mean, he needs that ship as much as that ship needs him.
Oh yeah, definitely. They are. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not a symbiotic relationship, but they're definitely
parasitic. They're the ship in Lorca.
Yeah. Like there's no way anyone else could use that ship
the way it needs to be used.
Yeah.
Because he's like one of the few war captains that are in Starfleet.
Yeah.
He's not a normal captain, which everybody who hates this show loves to remind us on the forums that he is not a Starfleet captain the way he should be. Like, you're right, he's not, which is why he's so good at what they've been doing. Just saying.
Yeah, that's why they're in a war.
Which is why admirals had to go, hey, we need to stop being so good because you're like a red blinker. Like, everyone, like the Klingons know who the shit you are right now. Like, you're so good, stop being so damn good.
You're too good, damn it. Just slow down.
So we're guessing that he hopes that she gets killed and her secret about him dies with her. and or on a less crazy captain side, he gets to go save her and prove to her that he is sane and the way he's handling things is correct because I just saved your ass, so you owe me type thing.
Yeah, I could see that one
Probably
happening more so than the first one.
He wouldn't mind the first one. It would suck a little bit, but he's been through enough heartache. One more person dead on his watch.
Oh, and
ain't
they
gonna hurt
definitely
his
put the
feelings too
vibe
bad.
off in that little scene when he like stares out the window and all that jazz. And
Can you even bear your own
fir-
reflection? Can you even look at yourself in the mirror?
Yeah, like I instantly went, well, she's gone. There goes his problem.
Right. So before they leave sickbay, Lorca offers Burnham the science specialist position on the bridge. So she's not only just part of the crew, she is on the bridge crew, which may even assign her rank. We don't know yet. I will be surprised if she gets a rank. I'd be surprised. They may not give her a rank, but she's definitely on the bridge crew. And this time, she doesn't even hesitate to accept it. She's like, I accept. Like, boom, right out the door. She's like, I'm not.
Yeah, she's like, I got it. I understood. This is the green light. This is my path.
Yeah, I'm not. All this self-deprecation. I got this. Oh, and then this is the last part of the scene is where she has the conversation with Sarek and she goes, why did you do what you did that day? She's like, you need to talk with me about this thing. And he's like, I can't, wishy-washy Vulcan bullshit. And then she just walks out at him and she goes, we'll have this conversation one day, father.
Yep, yeah, I like that. That was a good scene. It was a good scene.
If she had held up a middle finger on the way out, I'd have been like, that's the way you walk out of a room, girl. So the last couple things, we have the Admiral is boarding her shuttlecraft to head to the meet with the Klingons. She literally tells Lorca, like, as she's getting on, like, we'll talk about her. She's like, well, may favor fortune the bold. Hope you don't.
Yeah, seriously. He's like, well, if you make it, you make it.
Right, if you make it, you make it. Good luck to you. So we definitely know that he's glad this is the direction she's heading as opposed back towards Starfleet. So she takes off. The next thing we get is Tilly running again in the hallway again, all by herself. Michael stops her and says, listen, all the advice I have given you up to this point was wrong. She's like, you need to find your own way to the captain's chair. And Tilly says she has. And I think when she says she has, it's she's learning from Burnham whether she likes it or not. I said it earlier in the episode, she knows that she's the best Starfleet officer on that entire ship, whether or not she has a rank or not.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, that was definitely like a subtle compliment to her.
Right. So at the so then we're back to the mess hall. The health conscious replicators are giving Burnham a green tea that she ordered for. Like, I love that it like doesn't just give you what you asked for, but it's like, this is high in nutrients and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah. I'm like, wow,
this is great for vitamin A.
Right. So she sits down with Tyler again, like at the beginning of the episode, and they swap some nice words, and she's trying to mull over all of her emotions and stuff, and he's like, look, it's just being human. Like, what you're going through is just being human. And she, thinks so much in Vulcan type logic and the way she's thought for years and years and years. It's very, she's on her way back to like humanity in a certain way, even though she spent 7 years on this ship with on the Shinzu, not around Vulcans every day. She still tried to maintain that kind of Vulcan posture and outward look type thing. So we'll definitely see her starting to accept her human side again, just like her mother told her in the fake Sarek mind dream thing. And so they shake hands again at the end, which is nice, even though he's a Klingon. And not letting it go. Not letting it go.
No, you're not. I know you're not, man. You're gonna beat that horse till it's dead.
Exactly. Until they cut him open and his blood is not pink. I never thought of that. He didn't. Yeah, he hasn't bled yet, so that has to be a giveaway. If you can't change someone's blood, I don't know. We're gonna dig too far into that. I'm not going there. We just know that Klingon's blood is like Pepto-Bismol pink, so that will give it away. That'll be a cool way for the giveaway too. If he gets cut and pink blood, what the fuck? That'll be great. So,
yeah,
anyways,
no, that'd be sweet.
let's wrap this up. So we're at the meeting with the Klingons, and I loved this because we got to see the female Klingon, who we learn her name is, and she's the one that has the cool like headgear on her ridges.
Yeah,
Except I feel like you'd go cross-eyed. Like when I look at her, I'm like, are you cross-eyed? Like you are literally having to look at that stuff right in front of your face. But it's pretty badass jewelry. The Admiral does her normal introduction, and then everyone fucking dies. Like they kill the elders of the planet who are hosting it. They cut the throats of the guards that she brought with her. Cole is there. Cole like pops up on hologram whatever Skype they have, and he's like, I was hoping for a high-ranking Vulcan, but you are way better. So
yeah, he was way more excited about that.
Right. So he looks, he tells the two Klingons there, Denos and the other dude, welcome you to the United Klingon Empire under Cole, House of Kor or whatever. And they also find that they get the cloaking tech when they join him. So he's dishing that out like, you want to help me out? Here's some cloaking tech, but you got to do this for me first. So
yeah, he's gonna run out of cloaking tech.
Oh yeah, no, they're all gonna get it. Then it'll all be just across all the Klingon Empire, which it ends up being at some point. But we do see kind of this may be that kind of Klingon Empire started. All the houses under one large ruling house type thing. The Klingon Empire just could be like, I don't know. I'm not sure if the Klingon Empire, it didn't exist. At least in this storyline, that they weren't all together until now. So this is probably the beginning of the Klingon Empire that we see. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
I like
neat.
it. It's a long. You want to get lost on the internet for a while. Read about the whole history of the Klingon Empire from Kahless on. Man, it's crazy. There's a whole backstory.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. So, all right. So, finishing things up real quick. We get. Oh, this is the best part of the episode. Okay, so Saru is at Lorca's quarters, and he's briefing him on the Admiral's status. He says she's been. Saru is expecting him to be normal Captain Lorca and say, "Fucking shoot up Stamets and let's go get her." Like that's what he would do normally. And Lorca's like, "Yeah, contact Starfleet. Await further orders."
Yeah.
He was like,
"Nah, man, I don't break the rules anymore."
Yeah, this is. We'll go by the books now. We'll do things, and truthfully, he could be like, they're not going to kill you. He's doing a gamble. They're not going to kill you right away. So if you're still alive, they're wanting to do something with you. So here, I'll go by the book you want me to go by when you're ass on the line, and it takes weeks for me to get clearance to go get you, and then I'll come save you, and then you can see why the way I've been doing things has been the right way, whether or not you guys like it. But then, of course, he's like, as you were talking earlier, he's trying to, they give us that whole reflection in the porthole, and it's one of those, can you look at yourself in the mirror with what you're doing right now? And then they scroll down, and he still has a phaser in his waistband, like at all times. Yeah,
he's like, no,
like
no one's getting the better of me.
I trust nothing and no one now.
Yeah, seriously.
And that ends the episode. Once again, what I believe and what you believe is another fantastic episode of television and of Star Trek. So
yeah, it was great. I loved everything about it, beginning to end.
Absolutely. And we see real quick on the next week's episode, it's going to be a time loop episode. We know Harry Mudd's there, so he's escaped somehow, or he's working with the Klingons or whatever. But he gets onto Discovery somehow. And it's a time loop episode. And the only reason I want to bring this up, Corey, real quick, and I know I'm going to lose you on this because you haven't seen the episode. There's an episode, Next Generation, where Data, who is an android who is on the bridge crew of the Enterprise, they are stuck in a time loop. And at the end of each time loop, the Enterprise explodes. And he is the only one, through leaving him, that would return back to the beginning of the loop. He's making changes. It is literally the best hour of TV. It is one of my top 5 Star Trek Next Generation, if not top 5 of all Star Trek shows ever. It is one of my favorite episodes. So I kind of want to watch it with you at some point because it is a time loop one. And so I kind of hope, I know that's why they did an episode like this for Discovery, because I'm not the only one that loves that episode. It's considered one of the best TNG episodes anyways. It's not just me, but it's a very cool episode, and I'm gonna enjoy watching them try to be as good as that episode.
Yeah, so, dude, I'll definitely check that out.
Cool. Well, we will. Hey, tweet at us. Tell us what your favorite TNG episode is, or Star Trek episode altogether. I would love to hear what you guys think is the best. Maybe there's one that I did not pay as close of attention to as I should have. But we want to thank everybody who tuned in for the Star Trek Discovery review. We want to thank everybody doubly who tuned in for the American Horror Story and the Star Trek Discovery review, because we know we talk, we get off on tangents, we like to ramble. I'm so sorry. You guys still tune in, so we like it. We're going to talk like this each time we do it. I can't help it.
Yeah, but, nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to change. Only our... Yeah. So until next week, we will see you guys later, and have a great rest of the week and weekend.
Yeah, thanks guys for coming out, man. Peace and love.